Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another installment of The First Line. My name is Amaso Marciano, and with me today are my two brilliant and wonderful friends, Taylor Snyder and Michael Zingroni. Gentlemen, how are we doing today?
I'm doing well, Mass. Thanks for asking. A lot going on in the world of sports. NBA's just kind of kicked up. NHL's kicked up. The World Series is back. The only thing that can really bring me down right now is the usual Temple football, but the First Line's back. I'm excited. I'm ready to get this episode going today. I got a lot to talk about, a lot of opinions. I know Mike feels the same way.
Yeah, October is a great month for sports. You have everything, and when it comes towards the end of October, we get scary Halloween and good baseball. We got that last night.
Spooky times are indeed. Speaking of some spooky stuff, we got the Houston Astros versus the Los Angeles Dodgers in the first game of the World Series. Definitely was a great game. Very defensive, very aggressive. I got to be honest, I'm not as much of a baseball professional, my apologies, as you guys. But let me ask you guys, since it was a defensive battle, tell me about this battle that happened between Clayton Kershaw and Dallas Keuchel. Mike, you want to start off with that?
They were both really aggressive, and they were both throwing strikes. You can see right from the get-go they wanted to attack their hitters. And the Dodgers catcher said that after the game, that's what Clayton Kershaw wanted to do. He wanted to attack the hitters. And that's what they were doing. They were throwing strikes. They were going after hitters. It was a really quick game one. Game went by super fast. And it was a credit to the pitchers, and they're just attacking. Dallas Keuchel and Clayton Kershaw have both won Cy Young Awards before, and they were just going at it, showing how dominant they can be. And obviously Clayton Kershaw was ready to do that, being his first World Series appearance, and he sure as heck did that.
Yeah.
You know, they both went at each other, and I loved it. Loved every single bit of it.
Spectacular game one. I think if there's one thing we can definitely take away from this is that this series is going to be awfully close to very even matched teams. Like you said, Dallas Keuchel pitched great, 6.5 innings pitched in comparison to Clayton Kershaw, 7. They were both very evenly matched. Obviously, the final score was 3-1 Dodgers. One guy I want to give a shout-out to in the first inning, setting it off with a solo home run, Chris Taylor, the kid from Virginia Beach.
First pitch, too.
First pitch,
that was awesome.
27 years old. It was a great start. But after that, Dallas Keuchel was able to kind of command himself. It is Dodger Stadium. Obviously, the World Series has not been back there in a very long time. Yeah. The atmosphere was quite hectic. Overall, the game was, as Massimo said, very, very evenly matched. Obviously, Alex Bregman, once again, doing what he does best, hitting home runs.
LSU product.
Hitting home runs when they need him to hit home runs in the top of the fourth inning there. That was unbelievable. And last but not least, Fear of the Beard, Justin Turner, coming up with big hits. And I think this is just another indication of why Justin Turner is one of the more elite third basemen, if not one of the best infielders in baseball right now. I feel like the guy gets hits and he makes plays and he gets on base when you need him to do it. And it's always so convenient to me. The Dodgers look really good after last night, obviously winning 3-1 on their home turf. They'll get one more tonight on their home turf. However, Mike, I want to ask you, evenly matched is a big thing we want to take away, right? How do you see the rest of this series playing out with the Astros and their chances?
Well, I like the Astros' chances in Game 2 because they have Justin Verlander on the mound, and that's pretty big. And he's going against Rich Hill. That's the thing with the Dodgers. If they could really be in trouble if Justin Verlander's on his A game and Rich Hill is just okay. You know, Rich Hill has to bring his A game as well, but it's not on Justin Verlander's level. So obviously the Astros have a pitching advantage going into Game 2. So hopefully their offense can jump on Rich Hill early and often, because I think it'll be huge for Houston to snag Game 2. Then they have 3 straight games at Minute Maid Park.
Yeah,
3 straight games in Houston. So that's a 4 or 5 day span where you're just chilling in Houston, chilling in your own beds, and you have 3 straight home games, and that can be huge. That can be really huge.
And like I said, Rich Hill, obviously, not a bad pitcher, 12-8 on the season, 3.32 ERA. What really stands himself apart, or at a very far distance, not really in the same conversation, as obviously, like you were saying, Justin Verlander is on the mound tomorrow, which is huge. The Astros, and we discussed this when they were playing the Red Sox, one thing the Astros do have is pitching, and they made that move at the deadline to get Verlander and ensure that. One other thing they definitely don't lack is offense. Now, the offense was not really able to get going last night, but this is a golden opportunity. You're in LA, you're facing Rich Hill. You have Verlander on the other side to back you up.
Exactly.
If you can knock this up,
it's going to be a warm environment. It's going to be easy to hit home runs. Every single run. And last game was home runs. It's going to be easy to hit. So going against Rich Hill, not Clayton Kershaw, who's the best pitcher in all of Major League Baseball right now.
Yeah.
I mean,
100%.
It's going to be a lot easier, especially when they're at full confidence with Justin Verlander going out there hurling 120 pitches in 7 or 8 innings. So, I mean, if they can do that, it could be 1-1 heading back to Houston. and you can be looking at a completely different series.
Yeah. Actually, two kids I look at. I call them kids for a reason. Two kids I really look at tonight in Game 2 are George Springer and Cody Bellinger to really step up. Chris Taylor steps up, obviously, last night. Justin Turner steps up. I really expect a lot out of Cody Bellinger, obviously, in the World Series. Even being a young guy, I know the season he's had, there's no need to really talk upon it. Obviously, anyone who watches baseball knows he's been one of the more elite young players in baseball this past year. I really look at him to have a big game. And like we were talking about, Mike, the Dodgers are awfully good in L.A., but guess what? The Astros are awfully good in Houston. Mm-hmm. So there's still a long ways to go in this series, and if there's any indication last night, I would tell you right now that we're in for a good one. Perhaps even 7 games, and I would go that far. But what I've seen last night as a Dodgers team that looks awfully good, awfully fierce. I mean, it's hard. It's hard to really go up against, if you're the Astros defense, to go up against that offense. That full batting lineup is overwhelming. But at the same time, the Astros do have that plethora of young talent, and they have the pitching, and they're still very much in it. I'm just saying the Dodgers did look awfully good last night.
Yeah, Dodgers did look good, but I just feel like they just ran into Clayton Kershaw. I mean, Clayton Kershaw is one of the most dominant pitchers in all of Major League Baseball. And they just ran into him on a bad night. It's Game 1 of the World Series. He's going to feel that pressure. He was excited to be in the World Series, so he's going to come out and perform. And good pitching will beat good batting 99 times out of 100. It will. It's just a fact of life and how that played out. And I think that was the main factor. So going against Rich Hill, who is still a very good, solid Major League pitcher, compared to Clayton Kershaw, is a benefit, especially when you have Justin Verlander going the other side of the mound. And I think they just ran into good pitching. This offense is nowhere near bad. They can kick it up whenever.
And one thing we need to talk about, obviously, I think, the statistics do prove that the Dodgers are historically good against right-handed pitching. Now, Rich Hill doesn't need to outduel Justin Verlander tonight. There's no need for him to outduel. I'm just saying he just has to keep him in it.
Exactly.
Because all the Dodgers need to do, and like I said, historically they do dominate right-handed pitching, and this is at home in L.A. If they can jump on him in the 4th, maybe around 6th inning, somewhere within that ballpark area, then the Dodgers do have a big shot to go up 2-0 tonight.
That's the thing, I'm not saying Rich Hill needs to go seven innings pitched, 2 hits. He doesn't need to perform like Clayton Kershaw. He needs to just give him, a solid 6 innings, 6 2/3. Keep it simple, because yesterday last night the Astros only had 3 hits, and those 3 hits were all against Clayton Kershaw. This Dodgers bullpen is shuts down. So, if he can just give him 6 solid innings and have the last 3 innings to Kenley Jansen and company, the Dodgers are looking good, because that bullpen's legit.
Yeah.
I'm not asking Rich Hill to give me 8 innings, but all I need is Rich Hill to give me 6 innings. Don't give up more than 3 or 4 runs. Don't let the Astros double up in runs in an inning. Keep them 1 run an inning. Keep the swelling down. Just get us through 6 innings. Just keep it close, because our offense is good enough. That's all I'm asking if I'm Dave Roberts. Just get us to the 6th inning, and we're not down by 30.
Yeah, very well coached team, like you said, with Dave Roberts, and the relief pitching's there's not much to talk about. It's extremely
it's just shut down.
There's
nothing more you can say. It's just shut down.
It's Kenley Jansen, Josh Fields. You throw in Brandon Morrow in there. You got Ross Stripling, Tony Watson. You throw all that together. Starting pitcher, obviously, Yu Darvish coming on at the deadline. Clayton Kershaw, Brendan McCarthy. Overall, the Dodgers, I feel like, have the pitching to not outduel the Astros, but to keep them in ball games, to extend ball games, to give their offense more chances to capitalize.
Yeah, because in baseball, all you need to do is stay in games. In baseball, all you need to do is stay in games, stay within reach, stay within 1 rally of the lead if you happen to surrender. That's all you need to do. And the Dodgers are really good at that. And the thing is, they really don't surrender to lead a lot.
So if anyone of you guys would be the coach for the Astros right now, playing the 2nd game in L.A. tonight, added to what you're saying, Mike, what is the game plan? What players maybe are you focusing on banking on to make great plays tonight? Or is it more of the same, just depending on your pitchers to play as well as they have so far?
Well, I'm just going to take a little educated guess. Because Rich Hill's not as dominant as Clayton Kershaw, Clayton Kershaw comes out 83 pitches, 57 of them are strikes. Rich Hill's not going to come out like that.
Gunslinger.
Yeah, exactly. He's a little Drew Brees out there. But,
he is a little Drew Brees out there.
Rich Hill's not going to come out gunslinging like that. So if I'm the Astros, I'm staying patient. I'm working counts. I'm just trying to get on base. I'm just trying to get runners on base. I'll take a first and second with one out. I'm not trying to get the bases loaded with no outs right away. I just need runners on base. Manufacture runs. This offense is deep. That's what I'm preaching my team
Get
right
like
now.
a little assembly line
exactly.
kind of going.
Just play small ball. Just get runs. That's all you need to do is tack them on. Just be naggy. And I'm telling Justin Verlander, okay, no leash on you. Just go out there, try to get me eight innings.
Yeah.
So that's what he did in the ALCS. That I expect no different from Justin Verlander.
So
he's going to go out. He's going to attack.
Do you think you would follow the same game plan as
I think so. Like Mike was saying, Justin Verlander is a great pitcher, and he's 9-0 in Astros uniform. That's regular season and postseason combined. He has under a 2 ERA pitching for the Astros. If Justin Verlander does what Justin Verlander needs to do, then the Astros will be fine. It's just a matter of offense. And the Astros are a very good team. They get on base a lot. That's the one thing about the Astros is they can really hit you with a couple of different, what I'm trying to say is a couple of different punches the Houston Astros can hit with you at the same time. Carlos Correa, George Springer, Jose Altuve, and then you get Evan Gattis up there. Obviously, you get deep and deep into that lineup. It's a team that's capable of winning games because they can get on base so often. So if they play, like Mike was saying, this idea of small ball, the Houston Astros can split this 1-1. Like I said, it's not. I have utter and the most confidence in Justin Verlander in this game tonight. The only issue is it is in LA. And there is the possibility that Rich Hill could give this Verlander character a ball game if he can extend this 7 innings, keep him in the game. But the Astros walk out of here 1-1 tonight. I think like Mike was saying, all they got to do is just go back to the basics. It was a close game last night. It was a 1-1 ball game the whole way through.
They did
it's
not
not like
get
they
dominated.
got smacked or dominated last night. Justin Turner just had a big hit.
Yeah, what are you gonna do? Baseball.
It's the World Series. It's October.
It's baseball. That's how baseball is. It was a very close game. It was nothing like the Dodgers were obviously the better team. I mean, the Astros were right there with them. It's just a matter of fact, one pitcher made one more mistake than the other one.
So is it too early to predict at this point who the winner will be, or do you guys think
I think
Dodgers...
the winner of this game too, quite honestly, will win the series, because if I'm the Astros and I tie the series up at 1-1 and I got 3 straight games at Houston, which Minute Maid Park's been rocking this whole playoff run. So if they go back 1-1, I mean, ask the Philadelphia Phillies what it's like to have 3 straight home games after coming home after a series tied 1-1. It's a good feeling. So I feel like if the Astros win this, the Astros are the favorite. But I feel like this game's the most important.
The Dodgers win this, the entire balance of everything breaks down.
If the Dodgers win this, the Astros have to win 3 straight at home. There's no ifs, ands, buts, or ors or anything about that. The Astros will have to win 3 straight if the Dodgers win this.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Astros tonight. I rely more on Justin Verlander, and I think this is another situation where he will capitalize and seize the moment and the opportunity. I really, really like Bregman to get on base, have a couple of big hits tonight. One guy I really hope steps up, and I think he will, is Jose Altuve, obviously being a leader of this ball club. I think he can maybe
MVP candidate as well.
A late home run in that game.
Candidate.
Josh Reddick's been playing well. George Springer. The offense, I think, is going to get it going tonight. I think once they get around that 5th, 6th inning, they'll get their sea legs back, as one would say. I can't rely on Rich Hill to do what I want him to do. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
He's a great pitcher, and he's pitching well, having a good record this year, 15-8. I'm not saying he's a bad pitcher. I'm just saying I like Justin Verlander more for quite obvious reasons. It's Justin Verlander. He has his persona. He's been in the league for a while. And I really, really like the Astros to win this game tonight, actually. I think it's going to be an evenly matched series, and I'm sticking to that. I think the Astros win this game tonight 5-4.
I feel. This is probably something I should have asked maybe a little bit earlier, but I guess we can still talk about it at this point. In a more retrospective point of view, did you guys expect the World Series at this point, say like the playoffs had just begun? Would you have expected the play series to have been Houston Astros versus Los Angeles Dodgers?
Well, I remember at the beginning of the season, one of my predictions, I actually had a couple of predictions. One was Cubs Red Sox. The second was Dodgers Indians. And okay. I left the Astros out of the picture because I wasn't sure what they were going to bring this year. I knew they were a good team last year, and oh boy, did they prove me wrong. They were superb, remarkable in the regular season. They were fantastic. Looking back on it, I knew it was only a matter of time before Dave Roberts finally got that squad together. You know what I mean? Because I think Dave Roberts, for me personally, is a top 5 manager in this league. I think he has the postseason experience.
He does have like the poise. I like
the IQ, the poise, and the Dodgers are just a team waiting to happen. Obviously, they've gone through Adrian Gonzalez, Chase Utley, the Andre Ethier era, the Carl Crawford era, all this.
Andre Ethier, Carl Crawford.
Remember
Carl Crawford?
Remember Carl Crawford?
That's the best name ever.
It was funny actually. Justin Turner hits the home run last night. Honest to God, I had no idea. I was like, Andre Ethier? I was like, that's Andre Ethier. I had no clue Andre Ethier was still in the Dodgers.
Yeah, I was honestly surprised.
He's been
when that
there
happened, too.
forever.
I thought he's been hurt for the last 4 years.
I have
That's what it
no
feels like.
clue. Well, what was the guy that was there for the longest time that they could like never get rid of? You know what I'm talking about.
I know you're talking about. I can't remember the name.
It was Andre Ethier. Adrian Gonzalez was there. I mean,
Matt Kemp.
Matt Kemp was there for a while.
Matt
James
Kemp.
Loney.
Oh God,
James Loney.
Yeah, James Loney was before Adrian Gonzalez.
Remember that whole team though combined together?
Remember he went on the Rays? That was
that
funny.
was a funny Dodgers team because they competed, but I don't know looking back on it why they even competed.
It was hilarious.
You know, compared to this team. This team's fresh.
Well, those teams made it to the playoffs, but
Did you expect this?
These
to happen,
teams
Mike?
are in the World Series. This is a new Dodgers team. It's a different Dodgers team.
Yeah, exactly. Those teams competed, but this is a different Dodgers team. You know, they have the young power. You know, of this new major league. I'm hoping Cody Bellinger has a big night. You know, he wants to put himself in superstar status. Get obviously the rookie of the year.
I think Houston.
He needs to have a big night, Cody Bellinger.
I think Houston's sitting first class on the plane tonight back to Houston with a 1-1 series, but it is at Dodger Stadium. We are in LA, and this is the Dodgers. And if there's one thing we've learned about the Dodgers is they always just kind of find a way to stay in the picture. Even in that regular season when it was like, oh, what happened to the Dodgers? They lost like 10 straight games.
Yeah,
right
it's gonna be nice
picture.
to see like all 5 LA Chargers fans come up to the stadium and support them.
Yeah.
And you know, maybe we'll see a few Rams fans too. I don't know how many of
If
those.
we're lucky.
They've had some time to build up, but
Test your-
who knows?
Test yourself there,
Oh
man.
man. So say LA comes down with the victory here, and we're gonna do one for Houston too. But say LA comes down with the victory, what does this mean for the city? It means like, so we just got 2 NFL teams to come over. We're balling out in baseball right now. Basketball, basketball we have one of the most like.
You just have a loud father.
Yeah, exactly. But surrounded by one of the players who like actually isn't that bad. So this being for LA, you know, is a crazy thing. So
Yeah.
what was I trying to go with here?
I mean, it's obviously huge. They haven't won a World Series title since 1988.
They haven't been one since 1988.
Not 1988. The Dodgers are a very historic franchise, obviously dating back to Brooklyn when they were the Brooklyn Dodgers. And, you know, I think it means a lot for them having 22 NL pennants, 6 World Series titles, very historic franchise overall.
I'm like looking here. It's a little confusing, but
I think it does mean a lot. Mass, it's funny because a lot of people want to talk about LA like it's kind of too showy, too entertaining at times. And
well,
what?
I mean, because it kind of is a little
It
bit.
is, but at the same time, people have to understand, and we were talking about this on the show last week, money talks and money buys, and the market is in LA. I've repeated this time and time. The Chargers being in LA now had to happen. It wouldn't have survived.
Here's the thing. Like I agree with that. Like the market's in LA, but are the fans in LA? Because I'm looking here right now. Like I don't know how true this is right now, but Dodger Stadium capacity is 56,000. They didn't even sell out Game 1 of the World Series. They had 97% capacity. Yeah, they didn't sell out 3%, but I'm looking at World Series every single year. Oh, we have a sold-out crowd here. Oh, we have a sold-out crowd here. Well, based on this, it doesn't look like a sold-out crowd. The market's in L.A., but are the fans?
The fans are most certainly not in L.A. I mean, it's not like the Lakers, since the Kobe's left, have been any good. I mean, the last 3-4 years Kobe was there, they weren't even that great. The Clippers are a god-awful disaster. I don't know.
I bet you the Astros Stadium is going to fill out too, honestly, because
because the whole Houston
thing
is
their first World
and Houston
Series.
fans rep. They're not LA fans.
Listen,
Houston
LA stays relevant.
And I guess that's the point I was trying to go with there. It's like, what does this mean for LA to win this? Does this mean that they can finally pull together some sort of fan base?
If LA wins this, they'll be like, go Dodgers. Like there are a lot of Dodgers fans out there, but
there's also a lot of Seahawks, Eagles, Lakers.
Exactly, because there's a lot of different. Exactly, there's a lot of people from the East Coast. There's a lot of people from up north, from south, everywhere, all in LA. So you always have that diverse fan base as well.
And you guys watching that Eagles Chargers game when there were like 60% Eagles fans?
No, when it was like 80% Eagles fans.
80% Eagles fans, 20% Chargers fans. You ever sit there and wonder, man, why are all these Eagles fans here? That's because, with all due respect to the East Coast and the state of Pennsylvania, people want to live in California and retire in California. See, California is this melting pot of sports, politics, music, entertainment, and pretty much
whatever you
want to
do. It's there. In
California is California, and I think, Mass, to build off your point, LA sports will always stay relevant because it's LA and it's sports. But LA is just weird to me because the Lakers haven't been great since the Showtime. The Ducks won a cup way back in the day, early 2000s. The Kings snagged up a cup there. Kings looked great that 1 year, yeah. And then the Dodgers just kind of get this, World Series football. To me, the fans may not be in LA, Mike, but unfortunately the money is. The Chargers wouldn't have survived, and the Rams wouldn't have survived in St. Louis. So that's kind of why they're there for football, Mass. And LA's this booming town because everyone's going to end up there and everyone's going to kind of stay relevant there if they don't survive in the other markets. And unfortunately, the Rams and Chargers didn't. So for me personally, LA is just, it's this circus that will always stay relevant whether you want it to or not.
It's a big city.
You know?
It's a big city.
So while at this point the Dodgers are fighting for fans, we have the Astros fighting for an actual World Series. With that, let's move on to our next topic. Game 2 starts tonight at 8:09 p.m. Eastern. That's according to Google.
So
it's probably going to be like 8:15. So let's move on now to the NFL Power Rankings, just released by ESPN for this week. We got the Patriots sitting at number 1, going all the way down to the Cleveland Browns sitting at number 32. We got a lot of controversy with how we feel about these power rankings, but we also got a lot of agreements. Taylor was the bright soul who decided we should talk about this, and I definitely agree. Taylor, what about this power ranking this week released by ESPN talks to you?
Well, one thing that really obviously speaks out to me is the Patriots at number 1 at 5-2, and the Eagles at 6-1 at number 2. I know being in Philadelphia, that definitely created a lot of buzz this past weekend when they were released about a lot of disagreement from Eagles fans. For me personally, you can flip them 1-2, and I'm gonna tell you why. The Eagles are 6-1, and arguably, in my opinion, the best team in the NFC right now. And barring injuries, they're going to continue to only exceed from where they are. Carson Wentz was fantastic on Monday night. I think the Eagles can be at number 1 for one reason, because the Eagles beat the Panthers, who the Patriots lost to. The Patriots have 2 losses now. One of those losses, and the only loss for the Philadelphia Eagles, is the one they both share to the Kansas City Chiefs, who are at number 3 above the Pittsburgh Steelers at number 4. The Chiefs have now lost, 2 games in the past? Yeah, 2 in a row. And the Steelers are at number 4 with a 5-2 record. So ultimately, the top 2 definitely surprised me. What really caught my eye, though, was number 5. And if we scroll down here, number 5 at 3-3 are America's team, the Dallas Cowboys, in front of the Seattle Seahawks, who have looked fantastic at 4-2, and the Rams, who have looked superb at 5-2. Mike, I want to ask you, as Eagles fan, obviously you have a lot to say about the top 3. So let's start there. Do you agree, disagree with the Patriots being ranked above the Eagles?
I agree because for one reason, the New England Patriots have this guy from the University of Michigan. I think he goes by the name of Tom Brady. So I think that's fair because they kind of have the greatest quarterback of all time, or the greatest football player of all time on their football team. So, I mean, I'm not too disappointed in that. I mean, Carson Wentz is not there yet. So just give him a couple years. When Carson Wentz is there, then we should be number 1 every single week. But, I mean, they have Tom Brady. They're New England's Patriots. They're the defending champions. They look good the last couple of weeks. Their defense has really shut some doubters up. I was never talking about the Patriots. I don't know why people were talking about their defense. They're going to figure it out. It happens every single year.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm fine. The Patriots look good right now. I mean,
5 of the last
the Eagles
6,
still have holes. They just lost their best offensive lineman. They just lost their best linebacker for the year. Ronald Darby still hasn't returned, even though he's practicing. I mean, there's still a lot of holes in this Eagles team. This Eagles team's good, and I knew this Eagles team was going to be good, but there are still some holes, especially in that secondary and now in the linebackers core.
I want to propose something to you, Mike. The Philadelphia Eagles are 6-1.
All right.
Carson Wentz looked great. Actually, I'm going to go good. He looked great on Monday night, and he continues to look great.
He looked more than great.
He continues to look great week after week. When I look at the Philadelphia Eagles, the biggest thing for me is obviously those 2 versus Dallas and the remaining schedule, which I think is quite manageable if you ask me. There's no signs that they're going to decline. Now, Hicks and Peters are both out. Darby has not returned. What does this mean? Probably not a lot. I mean, it may mean a little, but I want to ask you, Mike, Carson Wentz after Monday night, he said, I like where we're at. We're in a good spot. Being home for the next month is huge, but we still got a long ways to go. That long ways to go for me can mean one of 2 things: the potential, backlash in the second half of the season and injuries. Mike, do you think injuries are going to be a problem for the Eagles, and how badly do you think this is going to affect them moving forward? Because they're 6-1 and they look great.
Exactly.
But injuries can hurt any team. How do you think this will affect the Eagles?
Exactly. You said it right there. They're 6-1 and they haven't had too many injuries. That's the thing. Injuries will always make or break a team's season. Like the the whole San Diego / LA Chargers franchise is pretty much worth nothing because of injuries, because they all get hurt every single year. The New York Mets have talent, but they're not good because everybody gets hurt every other day.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, they eat a bowl of cereal, they get hurt. Exactly. They take a shower, they get hurt. That's how.
Eat some bad Cocoa
That's how it is. Injuries can make or break a year. So I think if the Eagles, because the Eagles, if they're fully healthy, their starting 22 on the offense and defensive side of the ball is scary. Is really scary if everybody's healthy, all the way from Jason Peters to Sidney Jones. If everybody's healthy, but I mean, if we keep getting hurt, if Michael Kendricks, He's had history of injuries, especially hamstring injuries. And what was he out Monday night with? A hamstring injury. Now we don't have Jordan Hicks for the year. I'm confident with Nigel Bradham, but I'm not confident with Nigel Bradham, Najee Good, and Joe Walker as my starting 3 linebackers when this front seven is supposed to be one of the best in the league.
Yeah.
So that's going to be the big thing. If Ronald Darby can return within the next couple weeks and return and be 100% fully effective himself, and if possibly Sidney Jones can return, week 10 or after, being 100% himself, then that's a big story. But if that doesn't happen and people keep getting hurt, because it's only going to get worse when the season goes on. Hopefully it gets better. But I think how the bye and the schedule, how the bye's timed, and the whole schedule layouts, just makes me feel a little bit better. But as long as the Eagles stay healthy, and they look so far, but as long as Carson Wentz can stay healthy, that's the main reason. If Carson Wentz can stay healthy, we're a playoff team. But if everybody else gets hurt, we're a playoff team losing 49-0 in the first game.
And I think if you're an Eagles fan, make you feel a little bit more confident or a little bit better about the situation is 3 of the next 4 are at home at the Link. Playing really well there this year. They play San Francisco, Denver, who's not looked fantastic.
Honestly,
that game versus Dallas is big for me.
And I mean, it's good.
Huge.
You have a bye week before the Cowboys game, and it's just recently just the Eagles under Doug Peterson and Andy Reid. I mean, before all this, the Eagles have always been a good team on the bye. Even with Chip Kelly, after the bye, the Eagles have always been a solid team.
I want to kind of reverse it, though, Mike, and then Mass will let you. It was funny you said Tom Brady and this persona that the New England Patriots carry is why they're ranked 1 to 2, and I think historically speaking, that's why it is. But, I mean, there's no denying, Mike, Carson Wentz has 17 touchdown passes, and he is leading the league this year in touchdown passes despite Brady having more yards. Do you feel like that's disrespect, or do you think it's just overall it's tough for someone to really put the New England Patriots down in general just because of historical background?
You said it, historical background. Tom Brady came down. He was losing 20-3 in the Super Bowl last year. Came back and won. Carson Wentz hasn't done that yet. So I mean, it's just Tom Brady's a different animal. That's just how I view it. I mean, what do you think? You're the Patriots fan here. You're the one that's been seeing Tom Brady's whole career. What do you think?
Well, I think the teams are as evenly matched as they go. I think both teams have command of their respective conferences right about now. I really do believe the New England Patriots, when it's all said and done, will be playing in that AFC Championship game because, like you said, Mike, it's Tom Brady. But health is a big thing for us too. Obviously, Edelman is out for the year. We got to watch that offensively. You'd hate to see, obviously, Gronk's prone to injury a lot. You'd hate to see a running back go down. You'd hate to see, Chris Hogan. Anything can happen. And defensively...
Chris Hogan looks like he's hurt after every time
defensively, the Patriots haven't been as great as the past 2 seasons. Obviously, Devin McCourty's been having a pretty good year, but Malcolm Butler hasn't really found his steps. Stephon Gilmore hasn't really found his step. Quite recently, he's been doing a little bit better. But I think the rankings are good where they are because the New England Patriots do, I think, have command of the AFC, but the thing is I think the Eagles really have full command of their conference, and that's why I feel like it is a little bit of disrespect. If you ask me personally, I think the Eagles can easily be put at number 1 right now.
Kind of want to drop down to the bottom of these power rankings right here, and one team that kind of caught my eye right here is number 23, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But it's kind of funny. It says right here last week they were ranked 25, and yet despite losing to the Bills, they went up 2 spaces. But despite that, I want to talk about the Buccaneers in general and just how it was a complete collapse. And, I remember last year in earlier episodes of TFL and even on our blogs we've been talking about how the Buccaneers just in general were going to be a good team. You have Mike Evans, you have Deshaun Jackson, Doug Martin coming back. You have Jameis Winston's 3rd year under the helm. He looks like he's going to produce even more than what he has, and it's just not working for this team. And, what else can it be other than just bad offense that can be really screwing this Bucs team over? Well, I guess bad defense too, but, that can't be the case, right?
Well, I had a lot of hopes for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this year. High hopes. And it's a little confusing because, obviously, the New Orleans Saints are 4-2 right now, and they're in first place, and a lot of people wouldn't have said that
Taylor,
at the start of
the reason why the Saints are 4-2 is because they have the best quarterback of all time playing under center.
That's another discussion. I'll tell you who's really feeling that in their stomach the next morning, though, after that night of drinking right now. The Atlanta Falcons, man, they're really feeling that hangover.
That was bad.
I'm not going to sugarcoat it. That game on Sunday Night Football versus the Patriots, they just look like they have not gotten it back.
I mean, really, Steve Sarkisian
is his first year as offensive
supposed to be the
coordinator.
guy. Steve Sarkisian is supposed to be the guy. Come on now.
I mean, as first-year offensive coordinator of the Falcons, I did have a lot of expectations. You know, Matt Ryan.
Yeah, but what is Steve Sarkisian going to do?
Matt Ryan doesn't look comfortable anymore, man. Remember when the Falcons were driving up the field last year? Matt Ryan's not doing that this year.
Steve Sarkisian was legit the backup offensive coordinator on Alabama to Lane Kiffin. Like, what makes you think he can orchestrate an MVP?
Because he coached with Lane Kiffin, and Lane Kiffin's the man.
I don't get it. Like,
well, I can understand if they saw something in him, and like Lane Kiffin, like said, "Oh, like I like."
Saw something in Kelly too.
Yeah, well, I mean that's the thing. That's what it is.
Yeah, I mean that's what it is. But like, just
I think that the thing is, it's the kind of business where if you like the guy, it kind of works out. So I guess
one game that really, I'll say this about the Buccaneers.
It's definitely not working though. I mean, I feel you there.
One game that really stood out to me, and they've lost 4 games this year, or 2-4 now, is the game versus the Arizona Cardinals, a game that they should have won where they lost 38-3.
Yeah, well, look, they have to score 27 points.
Yeah,
with
Ryan Fitzpatrick as well.
That's ridiculous. Like you can't just do that.
That's a game they should have won, but that's the thing is they get that bad break that 1 week with Winston being out, and that can really screw them over for the time being going forward. They still have a great team. The season's not over, but
I feel like that. I mean,
especially in this division, I'll say that season's definitely not over in this division.
The thing is, like, they just have really bad luck. You look at their last 3 losses. Lost by 5 to the Patriots, 5 to the Cardinals, then 3 to the Bills. In that Bills game, it was 27-27. They had the ball. They're driving. I'm listening to the game on the radio. Adam Humphries, who hasn't touched the ball since the second quarter, fumbles the ball. Then the Bills get in field goal position. They just milk the clock, kick a field goal. Like, it's just bad luck. Like, that's what I really think it is. And the Patriots, you just call them on a bad week. You just call them after a week where they're going to get a lot of heat, so they're going to come out firing.
Just surround them by a bunch of 28-30 signs.
You're catching the Cardinals a week after they got killed by the Eagles, so they're going to come out firing with Larry Fitzgerald and company. I think it was just bad timing for the Bucs in the schedule. It's been rough for them. It's just been a rough little road.
Yeah.
Does this mean they're a bad team, or does this mean they're just?
I don't think they're a bad team. There's always that one good team that just struggles. Like they show offensive movement. Their defense flashes potential. They just don't close out games. That's the difference. They're just not closing out games. And when they can close out games, they can become a scary team. That's the thing.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I actually wanted to back it up a little bit. And I want to ask your opinion, actually. Number 5 in the power rankings is the Dallas Cowboys at 3-3. I heard on the radio the other day that a source feels the Cowboys have gotten their legs back and are getting that stride, Mike. They're 3-3 right now. I mean, let's not hype ourselves up. Man,
no. They beat the 0-7 San Francisco 49ers 40-10. So everything's righted. They beat a team they're supposed to beat by 30. So everything's okay. Yeah. They beat a team they're supposed to beat. Everything's fine. Yeah, come on now, obviously the Cowboys are good. Obviously they should be top 10 in power rankings, and I agree with them at 5. But just saying, the Dallas Cowboys are back after beating a team they're supposed to beat by 30. No, the Dallas Cowboys were always here. They were just struggling. It's just when Dak Prescott turns the ball over, they're going to lose. It's just that simple. So they played a really bad defense and have a really good offense. That's what happened. I don't think necessarily the Cowboys are back. They've always been here. It's just the Dallas Cowboys, so they're going to be very inconsistent. So obviously they're going to be consistent against a very bad 49ers team.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you guys something right now. Dead honest. And I know we've been talking them up for years. I know the bandwagon's really rocking down there in Florida right now, but the Jacksonville Jaguars are 4-3. Did you see that coming at this point?
I was about to ask you guys, is this team real or is this team...
They're 13. Will the Jaguars ever be real?
Defense is real.
That's the thing.
Offense
wins championships. Offense can't win you championships.
Offense is fake news.
Like you see in the AFC, all these hype up teams, the Raiders are so good, or the Dolphins are so good. Well, the thing is, there's defense are inconsistent. In the AFC, it's all about who can score 40, but if you have a good defense, you can still make the playoffs win a playoff game.
One thing we talked about at the beginning of this year that I really, really stressed was I felt like this is the deadline for Blake Bortles. I said after this season, we should know, or the Jacksonville Jaguars should know, is Bortles the guy or not? And they're 4-3 right now, and he's not playing awful. He has 5 interceptions, 9 touchdowns, having a pretty good season, over 1,300 yards. Had a 52 long that was absolutely gorgeous earlier in the year. I remember watching that. Fournette obviously still dealing with some injury troubles right now.
And he's a beast when he's in, though.
He's a beast when he's in. Do you guys think Blake Bortles is truly having a better year, or do you think it's just same old covered up by the defense and overall the system in Jacksonville?
Here's what the Jaguars should do. They got Tom Coughlin in their front office.
Right.
Giants are 6-1. call up Ben McAdoo, an old little buddy. Hey, can we get Eli Manning for basically nothing because that's what he's worth, and you guys don't need anything? Okay, bye, thank you. Eli Manning gets shipped over to Jacksonville. How's that sound?
Eli Manning in a Jacksonville Jaguars uniform. See, I can't picture anything else on Eli Manning other than just shame, humiliation.
I can't picture anything else in Eli Manning besides that like turnover face he has like after he throws an interception.
It's kind of like the Uzi face, but
throws
it's like the Manning face.
Yeah, no, he throws an interception.
Weird with Bortles because like Bortles had like an amazing year his second year. His first year was horrible. Yeah, like that's exactly. And then I don't know, he's just got this weird inconsistency to him.
His UCF Golden Knights are ranked though. They're 8-0
Speaking
right
of inconsistency with just anything, usually the Saints are like 2-5 by now, but they're 4-2. Drew Brees is like still the best. I'm sorry. That conversation's for another time. Drew Brees is killing it right now, and the Saints are doing amazing. Are they real, or is this just like a little blip?
Well, so far in the first 6 games, their defense is pretty real. I believe they haven't allowed their opponent to enter the red zone. They've only allowed their opponent to enter the red zone on, I believe, less than 10 offensive possessions. I believe it was the last 4 games. And it's something in that range. So that defense is playing good, and just give Drew Brees just at least an average defense, and Drew Brees can take an average defense far.
Yeah, Kenny Vassar having a great year on defense.
Yeah, it was about time. And them Texas safeties are good.
Texas.
You see Earl Thomas, just give him time. Kenny Vaccaro was really
Total
good.
side note, but by the way,
college.
why is this Texas team so bad this year? We don't have to get into it.
It's Texas. They've been bad for the last 5 years.
They shouldn't be bad, though.
Actually, can I just say real quick, one thing that I really love in the offseason when Brandon Cooks left the Saints to join the Patriots, the best part was everyone was like, oh, Drew Brees is going to miss his best weapon. Drew Brees is going to miss his best guy. No, Drew Brees has not had his best guy ever since Marcus Colston
that's
retired.
the thing. Like, and the thing with Marcus Colston, he was the
then,
exact opposite of Brandon Cooks.
Yeah, and the thing is, Drew Brees doesn't need like a Brandon Cooks. He just needs 3 guys of like 3 different sets. 1 tall guy, 1 fast guy, and 1 slack guy. And he still has that. He has Brandon Coleman, the tall boy. He has height guy. Then he has Willie Snead with the little quickness. And then he has Michael Thomas.
The all-around guy.
He's the all-around nice little vertical threat that you have. And that's honestly, that's why,
Ted Ginn Jr.
you know what, I do
and
think
Alvin
the
Kamara.
Saints are real because that offense is real. Mark Ingram's real.
Just give
the
Drew
defense
Brees,
just has to,
give Drew Brees guys
keep
who
up
can
whatever
catch
he's
the ball.
doing.
That's all he needs. He just needs people who can catch the ball. It's Drew Brees. He'll do the rest.
One more team I want to mention before I ask you guys one last thing, and then we can move on to the last topic. Buffalo Bills, 4-2. Tyrod Taylor in the city of love. Well, that's not the city of love. Tyrod Taylor in the city of, I don't know, Bison or something.
City of Buffalo.
Hashtag
Wild
Carson, do something about it. Guys,
Buffalo
what's
Wild
going on? Are the Bills real, or what's the deal?
I am holding that hope till the end of the night for the Buffalo Bills. I actually still haven't given up on the Buffalo Bills at 4-2. Obviously, 1 game below New England right now because the Bills have had that bye. The Patriots have not had that bye yet. So the Bills still have a chance to knot this division up. And moving forward, I really like him, even though the Raiders, did the Raiders look good in that one game on Monday night. I've never seen something so exciting in my entire life.
Yeah,
man.
the Raiders looked really good.
That
You know
was
what's funny about the Raiders? How they moved up 10 spots in this power ranking.
Right.
I just noticed that. That actually kind of got me mad.
Well,
but the Bills playing, that's going to be a really good game. That's going to be a very important game.
I
think especially for the Bills because the Bills have to stack up wins every single week.
And the Bills don't have the easiest ending. They got to play New England twice.
Exactly,
They got to play Kansas City in Kansas City. The Chargers, listen, they play the Chargers in L.A. Chargers have low-key won 2 straight. I'm not saying the Chargers are a playoff team.
But the Chargers always give games.
They always give games because they have Phillip Rivers, and whether you want to admit it or not, he's one of the most accurate quarterbacks in the NFL.
Yeah.
It's a matter of if his defense wants to show up.
Exactly. And the thing with the Bills, like you said, if they play the Patriots twice, they just play in the Patriots division. So every single week is a must-win for the Bills because you don't know, this loss can turn into a loss next week.
They play the
then
Saints
the week
at
after
home.
that. And
the Saints is a very losable game, and then they play the Jets on the road. That's a must.
I just want to ask you guys a question real quick. You've been asking me questions all day, but the Oakland Raiders, Week 7 ranking, number 20. Now they're up 10 spots to number 10.
You know what it is? I don't think the Raiders are really, honestly, like 100%. Like,
it's the thrill.
For example, like Marshawn Lynch, like, oh my God, Marshawn Lynch is he's gonna revitalize the Raiders running game. I mean, like, who did they have before? Latavius Murray. And honestly, like, I would rather the Raiders have Latavius Murray, have a big young running back who's still got age with him, rather than Marshawn Lynch who's just averaging like 3.7 this year. Against the Chiefs, he only got 2 carries. And
he did get thrown out.
And but here's the thing. That's the other thing.
He did
actually,
get thrown out.
Let's talk about this Marshawn Lynch thing because it's funny. He's trying to appeal a 1-game suspension for running in and trying to stop Marcus Peters after hitting Derek Carr. And the best part is Marcus Peters is
That
going to
was
testify
hilarious,
for him.
by
And
the
the
way.
whole thing is this whole thing's about, Marshawn Lynch didn't do anything wrong. He was just trying to stop Marcus Peters. No, at the end of the day, Marshawn Lynch,
No, he hauled.
3 times
he
the
hauled.
size of that referee, literally just fudged his day up. He literally messed him up. He got him skadoofed. He got him canoofed so much that I almost just cursed right there. That's how bad it was.
Yeah.
Like, I've never stepped out of a professional realm on the show yet, but, we'll see.
Here's a first for
Here's
everything.
another thing.
And Amari Cooper's not even doing good. That's that's the other part.
That's a story for another day. We'll talk about him on my
Looked pretty
fantasy, on my
good that
fantasy
one
bench.
Monday night, though.
Yeah,
Had a game
I'm just
that
gonna
one
take a
Monday
side.
night.
I really haven't been hearing like on ESPN or anything else when talking about the situation. No, can we just talk about the ref? I know the ref, is a referee. He can pretty much do whatever he wants. But I mean, Marshawn Lynch is a grown man. He's just he wasn't gonna go after and start hooking off of Marcus Peters or anything. Why does the ref got to get up all in his grill, start gripping him up like that? Marshawn Lynch is not gonna react well to it. Just when the ref just gets in his face out of nowhere and just starts grabbing him. I haven't played professional sports professionally or anything, but even I play sports before, and referees aren't afraid to talk back too and be disrespectful in their own right too. So I mean, I feel like that's another thing. We should look at the referees a little bit more in these situations as well. Did they handle it right? Because the way they handle it is not right all the time. They definitely could have handled the situation better, except for just running up on Marshawn Lynch. And I guarantee it wasn't, hey, please, Marshawn, don't do this.
But at the end of the day, Marshawn also needs to realize I'm getting paid millions of dollars, and I could literally destroy that ref in a fight. And also, this is the game of football.
Obviously.
You sign into
unless
the
you're at a hockey
NFL.
league.
The only thing is, you sign into the NFL, you sign in to adhere to the rules of the NFL, and especially with the officiating staff. And yet you still break the rules, knowing and willingly. You push and shove the ref out. That's like saying with your boss or with your teacher. You don't if you get into an argument with your teacher, of course they might not be nice to you the entire time. But what are you gonna do? You're gonna push them. You're gonna shove them. That's not fair. That doesn't make any sense.
Well, yeah. Obviously, I'm not. I'm not justifying he pushed him, but
there is no justification for anything.
Well,
Marshawn did.
that's why I'm not justifying it. But it just comes to a point it could be handled better in all rights and every single party, not just Marshawn's party. I'm not justifying it at all. He shouldn't have done that, and he deserves to serve a 1-game suspension. But there are ways to avoid that on both parties.
That's true. But I think, honestly, if we try to look in and think too deep about something like that, it could just... it would just become
That's why
too
we
much.
do this, Mass. We do this to think deeply.
That's thinking sucks.
Back to your central question, Mike. 10 in the power rankings. The Raiders are 3-4. What does that mean? I don't know how much that means right now. I think it still means something because they're only 2 back of the Chiefs, who have now lost 2 straight. It also means that they're 3-4 tied with the LA Chargers. So does this also, because if the Raiders are 10, does this mean that the
Broncos are awful?
Does this mean that the 3-4 Los Angeles Chargers are all of a sudden a team to be reckoned with?
No.
You know what I mean? You know what
honestly
I mean?
think
They've won 3 straight. You know what I mean?
if Melvin Gordon doesn't get hurt, they're fine.
They
Because
trounced
I just feel like
the Broncos. I mean, the Chargers gave it to the Broncos.
the Broncos aren't even that good. Their offense
I'll
is
tell you,
bad.
if we'll see if the Chargers are still having a
I don't
pulse
know
or
if it's
not
'cause
after this game on Sunday in Foxborough.
The Chargers, I don't know, they definitely have the season, but at the same time, can they close it out just like their games? It's
they
the
never
Chargers,
can. That's the thing. That's the only thing with the Chargers. They never can.
This
The
Chargers
defense
season
is
is going
never-
exactly like a
said
Chargers game. It's going, they're losing at first, and then they try to pick back up, and it looks like they can win it, but then, boom, they screw it up.
I've said this for years. The Chargers have not had a solidified defense since Sean Merriman, Quentin Jammer, and Antonio Cromartie. Remember that era?
Quentin
Remember
Jammer,
Sean
that was
Merriman?
awesome. Yeah.
Sean Merriman was awesome.
Well, I'm just surprised that the Chargers had Antonio Gates, LaDainian Tomlinson, and Phillip Rivers on the team at one time and still did not manage to even win an AFC championship with that. So, talking about defense, that's definitely been the issue.
Exactly. It's just the curse of the Chargers.
It's been their curse. They definitely need to get...
Played the Patriots for a while.
I wonder if the Chargers get a playoff game. Say they win the division, they get a home playoff game. If they actually can sell it out with their own fans.
The thing is, a lot of these games don't look easy to win.
It
At
wouldn't have
Patriots,
worked, man.
loss. At Jaguars, loss. Versus
Bills.
Bills at home, loss. At Cowboys, loss. Versus Browns at home, all right, sweet, nice, you got it.
Redskins at home. On the Redskins in December, you're fine. Come on, the Redskins.
But that's the
in
thing.
December.
At the end, they're gonna win just enough to go 6-10 or 7-9, and they're gonna look
It's a rough
nice.
situation.
Then they're gonna get the 14th overall pick.
No one wanted to move him out of ST, but it wouldn't have worked. I mean, they would have had to up those prices by hundreds just to afford the stadium in San Diego. I don't think the fans are in LA, and that's the problem. Is it wouldn't have worked in SD, but the fans are in SD, so there's this kind of two-way street because one street's, we need the money and we need to keep this team afloat, so we have to go to LA. But then the other parts, you're just all right, we got no fans in LA. So
Well, I think fundamentally,
I don't know what's going to happen with them, especially with that joint stadium in Carson with the Rams. how
I
that's
think
gonna play out.
fundamentally the problem with the Chargers will always be the defense, and in the fact that like they kind of share a same situation as Drew Brees and the Saints, is that you have like a Hall of Fame quarterback in Phillip Rivers, but the defense is just kind of like non-existent. You have like Melvin Ingram, and like that's kind of it.
I mean, and the thing is, like, Phillip Rivers is not on Drew Brees' level, though.
He's
Like,
not a.
honestly, like,
Phillip
Phillip Rivers is more accountable than we think because.
But he is a game manager.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, he's a game manager. But you saw that Eagles game. How you managing a game when it's fourth down, a crucial fourth down, and you're throwing a little temper tantrum because you're a little upset that your offensive coordinator didn't get a play goal that you wanted. Oh, it's 4th and 3. The game's on the line. I'm gonna throw a little temper tantrum, curse out Ken Wisenhunt because I'm not happy with the play call. Oh, boo hoo. You know, that comes to a point too. Drew Brees isn't doing that. Tom Brady isn't doing it. Carson Wentz sure as hell isn't doing that. That goes a long way as well. I mean, if your quarterback's throwing temper tantrums, wide receivers be like, geez, he's flipping out. And I know if I flip out, I'll get in trouble. You know, what's this? And you start questioning. Then when you start questioning, you know, things arise, and that's pointless. Like, you also got to look at that a little bit. Phillip Rivers can't be doing that.
And that's why I don't think it's the year. I don't think the Chargers have just like mentally.
It's just Chargers. I hate to say it. It's just Chargers.
Anyways,
it's the same story every year.
Yeah. Are there any more teams on the power rankings that you guys would like to discuss one last time? Going once. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not gonna
going twice.
Go in a rush like that. There are a lot of interesting teams.
One team I do want to talk about that's just right below at that 9th spot, the Houston Texans. All right. So realistically, the Titans are 4-3 right now. The Jaguars are 4-3. Texans are just behind them in the division. Do you think Deshaun Watson, when this is all said and done, has the poise and the skills to lead this Houston Texans team yet again back into the playoffs with an absent J.J. Watt? Because truthfully, I think so. I think this right now, the 4-3 Titans and Jaguars, unfortunately, I know we want new teams, new faces. Is just a figment of our imaginations. I say come week 14, this is Deshaun Watson.
Give me about 5 days when he plays the Seahawks in Seattle, and I'll tell you what I really think, because that'll tell us a lot of things about him, and that'll expose a lot of things about him. So we'll find out a lot more. It's the same thing as when Carson played the Seahawks last year in Seattle. You know, that told me a lot of things about him, where he needs to grow, where overall the Eagles need to grow last year. I feel like that's going to be a tell-all game because, you know, the Seahawks defense is for real. They're still
always for real.
Yeah, they're one of the best passing defenses in the league, and obviously one of the best rushing defenses in the league. They got pressure, and they just brought in Dwight Freeney for a tryout. How about that? That's
after
awesome.
Getting Sheldon Richardson.
Yeah, I mean,
I want him at my wedding.
Yeah, right. He's my best man already. We got that figured out. But it's just the Seahawks are too good. That will really tell us a lot about him. I just want to see how he does against the Seahawks because honestly, he has the weapons. You know, it's not like he's going into Seattle his rookie year like Carson did with nothing.
I think the thing with the Texans that's really nice is the coaching has honestly been superb from Bill O'Brien.
Bill O'Brien's a good coach.
Bill O'Brien's
always been a good coach.
But here's the thing: he's always ever since he joined the Texans, he's had bad quarterback after bad quarterback after bad quarterback, and now that he finally has someone who can throw accurately, throw deep, understand the plays, you know, scramble a little bit.
That's a big thing about quarterback. Improv a little bit.
And it's finally showcasing the fact that Bill O'Brien is a good coach and why the Texans have stuck with him. And even in the fact that J.J. Watt and Jadeveon Clowney are
they're
injured.
always good. Even when the Texans aren't good, they're still going to win that division.
They have, honestly, out of that division, they are the best team because the Jaguars have the inconsistency within the offense. The Titans have the inconsistency entirely.
The Texans been the best team in that division for the last 3 years.
Yeah,
that's been a known fact.
I think 5 years from now, I'd still say Watson over Mariota because Mariota is a great quarterback, but it's just I don't think it's the Titans, you know.
So the same thing about the Chargers.
If Mariota was on the Texans, would that lead a whole new?
That's a whole.
That's a whole.
We should have like a whole episode where we say like, what if
Twilight Zone episode?
You know what? Hold up. We know it'd be a great episode before, unless you guys have one more thing to talk about. Before we move on to our next topic, a great episode idea. We should just talk about what if teams. Drew Brees, Calvin Johnson, Larry Fitzgerald, LaShawn McCoy. I gotta stop.
You want to do what if team? We'll just get our fantasy teams. We'll just read them off. It's like, yo, what if this was an actual team?
What if this was an actual team, bro?
That'd be so cool.
Aaron Rodgers, Mike Evans. No. Okay, we gotta stop right now. Anyways, power rankings.
That's what Madden's for.
Yeah, right. Any more teams on the power rankings anyone wants to cover before we move on to the next topic? It is pretty big list, but I think we've covered a big amount. So you know what? Let's move on to the next point of discussion, which is basketball, everyone's favorite national pastime next to baseball. I don't know, the statistics have changed or something like that. We gotta get the new
fluctuates every day.
almanac written by Benjamin Franklin. Anyways, Guys, the NBA season has started. We got a few games going on. Got a little bit of dipper-dapper action.
Yeah, a lot of things.
Can we just talk about, first off, I want to talk about a few names. We got Markelle Fultz. We got Kyrie Irving on the Celtics. But guys, let's talk about John Wall and the Wizards.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, this is amazing.
Well,
like,
in the Capital One Arena.
because just like here's the best part is that we grew up listening to classics such as John Wall and John Wall and
John Wall.
and that was basically all we had before Future and Lil Uzi came onto the scene. And I think honestly, like every year he's always getting better. But guys, this is the year like John Wall is literally starting to pick up. But what about you guys? What do you think about this Wizards team?
The nation's capital got to send some love back home. They're 3-0 right now. They look great. They're 3-0 compared to the 3-1 Cleveland Cavaliers right now. Mass, you couldn't have said it better. John Wall obviously having a big year for the Wizards right now, averaging 24.3 a game. He's getting 35.3 minutes. I like the way he's playing. Bradley Beal looks great. Otto Porter, glad they kept him around. The Wizards look really good. And obviously, this goes without saying, the Celtics were supposed to be the kind of that counteraction to the Wizards this year, but the Celtics are 2-2. They're lacking the depth that they used to have. The Wizards only continue to look better. It's still very early in the season, 3-0. It's a good start. What does it mean? Not much. I mean, it's a long season. At the same time,
Very
the
long.
Orlando Magic are 3-1. The Milwaukee Bucks are 3-1. So I mean, there's a lot of teams. But Mike, I wanted to ask you, from what you've seen so far, and with the Cleveland Cavaliers team that's still trying to gel together, do you like the Wizards in this conference right now with the Cavaliers?
I actually love the Wizards. I would marry the Wizards and have their babies, honestly. But I really don't think they get enough love, the Washington Wizards. I think John Wall, before the season, he said he's going to try to be the best two-way player in the NBA. And he was already up there in that conversation. He needs to get a little bit better shooting. But when it comes defensively, John Wall is, I believe, the best point guard in the Eastern Conference when it comes to defense. He's for real, and he's very athletic. He shows that. He almost plays like Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook can shoot a little bit better, but John Wall plays defense, so those two kind of flush each other out. And I really like the Wizards roster. Bradley Beal, hopefully he can stay healthy for an 82-game season and produce at the All-Star level he is capable of producing at. Then Marcin Gortat, he's not the Mr. Get it all done, like Joel Embiid center, but He'll get a little bit done. He'll help your team out. Yeah, I like the Wizards. I like their really scrappy team. I just think John Wall is just the way he fights, the way he plays hard, just like Russell Westbrook. I feel like they can do something.
Can I climb down 2 levels right now? We're going to go to number 3 right now. There's a team at 3-1 in the Eastern Conference, and they play in South Florida, Mike.
This is my team.
The Orlando Magic are 3-1. Can I say something right now? A lot of people in this situation, they go, oh, the Orlando Magic are 3-1. Oh, great. Let's see who they play. Probably no one good, right? Well, they beat the Cleveland Cavaliers 114-93 in Cleveland. They beat the Heat on their home court to open up. They just beat the Nets. Doesn't mean a lot.
And they lost to the Nets.
Yeah. They got the Spurs at home on the 27th. That's 2 nights from now at 7 o'clock p.m. They are 3-1. Like we said, nothing really means a lot. I mean, heck, the Golden State Warriors are 2-2 right now, and the Clippers are 3-0. So what does life even mean at the moment, if you think about it? But the Orlando Magic are 3-1. Mike, I want to ask you, how do you feel about this team?
Well, Mike, do you mind if I just answer with just a few quick words, and then I'll let you take on? I think the main reason the Orlando Magic are doing good this year is ever since the Dwight Howard era, the Magic have needed something else, and that's what happened when they got the Aaron Aflalo era. And Aaron Aflalo has returned for yet another season. Yes. And let me tell you, that little bird is flying right now. Yeah. I'm just completely kidding. Mike, you give us the real reason why the Magic are doing good this year.
Aaron Aflalo is a top 10 NBA player of all time. But
that is true.
No, I like the Magic. Aaron Gordon, the little Blake Griffin type.
Almost better.
I like him a lot. Here's the thing. Here's the thing with those players. Are they really that good? They can kind of shoot, not really, but they just really dunk a lot. That's all their highlights are. You never see them here's a highlight of them dropping 35. No, here's just a highlight of them doing 4 dunks in one game. Are they really that good, or are they just extremely average? They're just flashy. Yeah. That's the thing. I like the Magic. I would like to see them keep it a little bit sustainable. they really have a pretty deep roster, if you ask me. With Terrence Ross, Elfrid Payton. You have Shelvin Mack just shoved down there in a point guard depth. Nikola Vucevic, who's been there for a couple of years. He's a seasoned...
Shelvin Mack.
He's a seasoned Orlando Magic vet. Shelvin Mack. They have a really solid team, and everybody's favorite backup point guard, DJ Augustine. Yeah. They have a really good roster. I mean, there's nothing against their rosters. The thing is, can the Orlando Magic keep a sustainable, successful NBA season for 82 games?
And it's a good team. I mean, Frank Vogel's a good head coach, you know. The Magic.
Yeah, I mean, he's led some playoff runs. He's led some Eastern Conference Finals playoff runs before.
Coached the Pacers.
Exactly.
Paul George and the Pacers.
So, I mean, it's not like the Magic can't do it. It's just a matter of they will. I mean, the Eastern Conference is wide open. There really isn't a reason they honestly can't snag up a top 6 or 5 seed.
So it looks like this season is going to be a bit of a process for them. But speaking of processes and all things processing.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, it's pretty intelligent. I'm a pretty smart guy. My number is, I'm sorry, no. Anyways, let's talk about the Philadelphia 76ers and how their process is...
76ers. Hey, they're not last place in the Eastern Conference.
That's the most important thing.
The
Listen,
Knicks are, of
I think
course.
the most important thing to talk about, though, with the Sixers team is Markelle Fultz. Because,
Right.
for example, if this Sixers team doesn't pick up, Ben Simmons is leaving when his rookie contract comes up.
Well,
unless he's that nice of a guy, but he's too good to be
I don't
that
think
nice
it's
of a
that.
guy.
I don't think it's that deep. Ben Simmons likes the Sixers more. Did you think?
That's true. Yeah.
Plus,
but
Sixers
he likes
get,
money.
Yeah, but the Sixers can give him more money than anybody else do because they drafted him.
That's true. We also got to pay, Dario, Joel.
Yeah,
But we're not going to pay Fultz if he keeps...
that's 4 years down the
playing
road.
this.
Right
Yeah.
now, we're gonna be here now. Taylor, go.
You're right.
Well, I think, starting out, the Sixers are 1-3. There's this whole, obviously, trust the process, goes without saying. The whole thing in the offseason was, is the process finally being trusted? Is it processing? Are we moving forward? The number 1 overall pick, Markelle Fultz, hasn't been great, but he's not been bad. I mean, 10 points versus the Wizards, 6 versus Boston, 6 versus Toronto. Had none versus the Heat. Also didn't really see any minutes whatsoever there, so that goes without saying. Markelle Fultz for me is an interesting guy. I mean, he's a point guard. I feel like when I watch him on the court this year, he's trying to do a lot, and that's good. He's a flashy player. He's a handily guy. He can get to the basket. He can go coast to coast, and that's what you want out of Markelle Fultz. I'm not expecting Markelle Fultz to be, like, the guy in Philadelphia, the image for Philadelphia. So I really think hasn't looked bad. Definitely has a lot to work on. Free throws will be a concern for me, which
Just shooting in general.
they always have been. But I'll tell you one player that you don't need to wait for. Actually, 2 players you really actually don't need to wait for. The whole coming around thing is Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons. I think Ben Simmons is right where the fans wanted him to be. Joel Embiid's been fantastic. Team looks good. They're 1-3. Mike, what's your whole thought on Markelle Fultz so far, though?
Well, he's gonna be sitting out for the next 3 games, and I saw a tweet. It was an educated guess. He's not gonna be sitting for the next 3 games. He'll be sitting for a lot longer after that, and I have to agree. There's no point in rushing him. I mean, yeah, we got Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid. Yes, we want to make the playoffs, but I mean, this whole Markelle Fultz situation is just questionable. He changed his form on his own. So the team was just like, yeah, sure, just change up how you play and hopefully it works. Like, we have no say in it. He just changed it on his own. Then Brian Colangelo hinting at that might have caused shoulder issues. Then now they're finally sitting him. He hasn't attempted a shot outside of 15 feet away from the basket because he can't lift his arms up to shoot because of shoulder injury, but he's playing. Like, this is not what you should be doing with the first overall pick.
Right.
Like we've seen it before. Like, we've been ultra patient with Joel Embiid. If we want to be patient with Markelle Fultz, we can be. Just like, don't force anything. Like, we haven't forced anything for the last 4 years. Don't start now.
Yeah,
We're too deep into this thing to start forcing stuff.
Listen, it's not
way
like,
too deep.
It's not like Jared Bayless is an elite point guard or anything, but he's better than Markelle Fultz in the sense that he has more experience.
He's better with Markelle Fultz because he has functional shoulders.
Right.
Markelle Fultz legit can't lift up his right arm to shoot, and he shoots with his right arm. So why the hell is he playing?
Right.
Don't force anything.
I don't think there's anything really to be forced right now. Obviously, Dario's been pretty good. J.J. Redick, I think, is going to finally get his step. He's a good shooter for the Sixers. A guy, I think he was kind of that missing piece, not the complete missing piece, but a part of the piece.
Can we start the hashtag Covington for Defensive Player of the Year award?
He's great.
He's
No,
gonna
he's
be
great.
if he's not the Defensive Player of the
listen,
Year award, I'm gonna be a little shocked.
It's a 1-3 record. The Golden State Warriors are 2-2. The Clippers are undefeated. The
time. You got time.
You got time.
The Chicago Bulls are 0-3, and they're probably gonna finish 0-82. So.
Because let's be honest, the finals are probably going to be the Warriors versus the Cavs again?
Honestly,
Or could it be different?
We'll see.
It's going to be the Cavs.
Or is it Warriors versus...
I don't know.
Cavs
Mike, do you trust the Wizards enough to win an Eastern Conference this year?
No, because his Cleveland Cavaliers have this guy. He wears number 23. His name's LeBron James.
And I think
he's going to keep going to the finals.
They're not gelling right now at 2-2, but once they do gel, man, those Cavs could be pretty good.
As
They
long
have
as
LeBron
LeBron
James, and now they have Dwayne Wade, and they pretty much have the
3-1.
same roster from the last 3 years. There's really not much change.
As long as LeBron James is playing in the NBA with at least a somewhat solid team, they will always be in the finals.
Especially this LeBron. We got dominant top 5 player of all time LeBron right now. There's not a lot of question about that, unless the Cavs suffer significant injuries like to LeBron or major injuries to the supporting cast. I don't see the Cavs losing in a 7-game series when they're most likely going to have home court advantage.
Especially, yeah.
And they don't even need it to win because they got LeBron. So, that's your answer.
All right, I want to ask you something else, Mike. A team that's 3-1 who actually beat my Celtics, the Milwaukee Bucks. A lot of people are really feeling Giannis this year, and I'm really feeling this Bucks team, Mike. I don't know if you feel the same. The Bucks are 3-1. They're 2-1 at home, 1-0 on the road. They're averaging 105.3 points per game. Opposition's averaging 105 on the dot. That's pretty funny. Win streak of 1-2. Last 10, they're 3-1. Pretty good, solid start for the Bucks. So far, it beat the Celtics, Hornets, Blazers. Lost to the Cavaliers. Pretty close game, prime time. I expected a lot more out of the Bucks that game, to be honest with you. But Mike, how do you feel about the Bucks so far, man?
I mean, they're averaging 2 more points per game in their first 4 games than last year. They did all season. So I mean, there's that. They have a little uptick in offense. I mean, they're Milwaukee Bucks. I mean, I don't know how much I really trust them on defense. If Jabari Parker can stay healthy, stay out there all the time. If Giannis Antetokounmpo is obviously going to be an MVP candidate. I mean, 4 games in, if we want to get all, he's my front runner.
Matty Dellavedova on defense, though. I gotta love Chris Middleton.
Yeah, I mean, if we're saying right now, Giannis is probably MVP front runner, but it's only 4 games in. I mean, I'm gonna say the same thing with them. I said with the Magic, got to keep it over for 82 games and carry it into the playoffs, and we're still far away from that. But I mean, I like what the Bucks are standing. If Chris Middleton and Jabari Parker can stay healthy, that's definitely a huge 1-2 punch alongside of Giannis, and if Greg Monroe can just play like Greg Monroe and stop being whatever he's trying to be in Milwaukee because it's just not working. I know he's a better player than this. The Milwaukee Bucks can be a really scary team. It looks like they're figuring out a little bit. They're getting better. Jason Kidd's figuring stuff out, getting everything right in Milwaukee. But I liked your chances this year. I think honestly with the Open Eastern Conference, they should be a top 5 seed. There's really no excuse for them to be outside of the top 5, and they should win a playoff series, maybe even 2, depending on the matchup. But I mean, they got to prove it to me. They look a little bit better this year, but
yeah, Chris Middleton's got to step up.
Got to be some time.
Greg Monroe, Malcolm Brogdon, you know what I mean? Like you said, Jabari Parker staying healthy is a concern.
So I'm gonna ask you a question, Taylor. So you got the Boston Celtics at 2-2,
right?
Are even with the Brooklyn Nets at 2-2. Does
right.
that scare you at all?
No, it doesn't. And I think there's one reason why it doesn't is because the past 2 games the Celtics have looked significantly better than they looked their first 2 games, and I think it all was a little bit of shock, obviously with Gordon Hayward going down for the year. I think this right now, and it was funny, I was reading up an article the other day. This season for me, when it's all said and done, what this will represent for the Boston Celtics is a blessing. A blessing. Because I'll tell you why. Jason Tatum's going to get a lot more minutes. Jaylen Brown's
meaningful minutes, too.
Already getting a lot more minutes. Marcus Smart's going to develop as a player, and the bench people like Terry Rozier are going to have to develop as people. And I think Gordon Hayward going down hurts. It hurts a lot, and it's pretty damaging to your overall chances of claiming the Larry O'Brien trophy come this early summer. Mm-hmm. But I'm not scared because I really like the way the Celtics have responded. I think the first couple of games, they had to get their legs back. They got to play the Bucks at home, which is interesting because they just played them they played them at home. Now they're going to play them on the road at the BMO Bradley Center. Always rocking the BMO
Bradley Center.
The BMO Bradley Center. No, I'm not concerned at all. Kyrie Irving looks great. I think Kyrie Irving's doing what he's supposed to do, 20 points per game. Jaylen looks fantastic. I can't say enough right now about what Jaylen Brown's doing down there.
I mean, just in summer league, you can just tell he was a different player.
Oh, he's great. He's developed, and I'm not concerned.
Completely different player.
Because listen, if we were talking about, the Celtics are 2-2, the Brooklyn Nets are 2-2, well, guess who else is 2-2? The Golden State Warriors. So it doesn't mean much to me in the grand scheme of things, because if you're talking about compare and contrast here, there's a lot of teams who are 2-2, and there are a lot of teams who are actually below 2-2. I don't think it means much for me because overall, I take this Celtics team in a 1-on-1 versus the Nets any day of the week.
It's too early to tell which teams are doing good, especially when you're looking at it's honestly the only way you can tell these teams are good is honestly just by watching the games and seeing how the talent just plays out.
Well, I'll tell you this, the Celtics look like they've responded well, and they look a lot more developed, which makes you hungry and it makes you upset at the same time that Gordon Hayward's on that court. I know it really hurts, but hey, man, they look good, and I still got confidence. 2 straight. Got to see what they'll do.
And the thing we're saying about the Celtics too is the next couple of years they're gonna be great. Not this year. I mean, I should reword that. We knew they're gonna be great this year, but we're more worried about them in the future. So I mean, the future's not here yet. So when the future comes, then that's when you should get worried if something like this happens again, in my opinion.
Yeah, perfect the future before you can optimize, or perfect the present before you can optimize the future.
Yeah. So just do what you have.
We trust the process here in Philadelphia. City of brotherly love.
Trust the process everywhere.
Always.
I trust the Pacers process, whatever their process is.
Do you trust this Temple football process despite losing to Army?
I trust the Temple basketball process. If we're talking about basketball, if we want to shift it over real quick, that's the process I trust.
I do trust that. Looking forward to that.
I've been looking on Twitter, and Temple basketball's been throwing some teaser, pictures up. Oh, season's coming soon.
You know what, like my
standard.
teasers, Quinn.
The thing is, I think Temple basketball has new jerseys. I think they got new designs.
I think they're the same design.
Therefore, they have more wins this year.
No, I
That's
think
the
they have
equation.
different designs on their like shorts and stuff. It actually looks pretty cool. It definitely looks different from last year.
Well, that sounds great.
I gotta show you this actually.
Anyways, before we start to top off the show tonight, and while Mike's looking up these new jerseys, any more teams in the NBA that seem like we should be talking about yet, or is it still too early?
I think the Minnesota Timberwolves is a team that we kind of just skipped right over. Obviously, a big off season for the Minnesota Timberwolves. They're 2-2 right now. Like I said, with Jimmy Butler over there, he's playing pretty decent right now. So I really look forward to what the Timberwolves can do because, like you said, Matt, it's still very early in the season. So if the Timberwolves can get themselves together, I look at them to still be a competitor in the West. Like we said, the Memphis Grizzlies are 3-0. Is this finally the year the Grizzlies
What about
do
a team
anything?
right behind them, the Portland Trailblazers?
Yeah.
Give Dame Dollar a little love. Dame Dollar's my
He's
guy.
right above them at the 3-1.
Well, there's a lot of love we could give, but only a time slot we can have. So,
Yeah, well, I'm gonna shove all the love I can in that time.
children, we're gonna pick only one of those teams, and then
Oh, we can talk about all we want.
so we could.
Butler's
we could
at
honestly just sit.
13.3 right now.
We could
Anthony
sit in
Towns.
this booth for 3 hours, and we could talk about all the NBA teams in the world.
I
even just the 32 that
exist.
exist. We could talk about
after they got Joseph Nurkic, they just took a step up in competition level at the end of last season, as really shown in the first 4 games of this season. And Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum's one of the best backcourts in the league.
Let me ask you something.
Far.
Jimmy Butler, 13.3 a game. Karl Anthony Towns, 23.3. Andrew Wiggins, 20.3. There's a gap between Butler, Wiggins, and Towns right now, and Butler's on the bottom half of that. He's in the number 3 spot. Does this surprise you at all that he's only averaging 13.3? Do you think he should be taking on a bigger role right now in Minnesota? Are you concerned at all?
Who was it again?
Jimmy Butler.
Oh, Jimmy Butler.
Yeah.
I'm not too worried about Jimmy Butler. I mean, it's gonna take time to really not find his role because we all know what role Jimmy Butler plays. But I feel like it's gonna time for everything to figure out. Timberwolves aren't gonna be built in a day. It's not like they have veterans on that team. Andrew Wiggins, Karl Anthony Towns. They still have rookies, so they're gonna have to adjust as well with Jimmy Butler. It's not like they have solidified vets in there who they can just welcome it. Player on the
Can't
team.
forget
and
Jeff
it's
Teague,
worthless.
though, and Jamal Crawford on that roster now, especially Taj Gibson.
Jamal Crawford is the guy, though.
Jamal
Crawford's
Crawford
the
is
best
the
thing ever.
guy.
Yeah, against the Jazz, he kicked
I
up.
love Jamal Crawford, actually.
Jamal Crawford's my guy, but I'm gonna give the Timberwolves a little bit of time. I feel like you give Jimmy Butler a little bit of time, we'll be fine.
Everything.
He's out with he's a little sick right now. But
Everything takes time on this shit.
exactly. It'll get better for the Timberwolves for sure.
Ladies and gentlemen, please give us a little bit of time as we're going to take about a week break until next time we come here and record. We actually live in the same booth that we record in. It's a pretty nice place.
Go to sleep under the table.
It's about $0 per rent, but I think that's because I don't know. You know what? It's Wednesday, middle of the week. It's crazy, ladies and gentlemen.
Middle of
it's
semester.
been wonderful to have you guys. Mike, Taylor, any last thoughts before we leave tonight?
Yeah, I'd like to see my Washington Capitals win a game on the road in Vancouver this Thursday. The Capitals have 9 points right now. They're 4-4-1.
A lot of people want to talk about the Wizards, man. Come on, the Wizards are great and all, but none like some Washington Capitals hockey at the Capital One Arena now in D.C. So I'm looking for the Capitals to have a big week. I didn't mention them once on the show, but pulling for you guys, sending love back home. What about you, Mike?
Well, breaking news: Temple is not getting new uniforms. They just look really good. I thought they were new, but
Well, that's all that matters. Right?
but not breaking news. I'm really excited for Temple basketball season. That's right around the corner, and
Right.
I'm just
Less
that's
than
just
30
all
days.
that's
Less than 30
100% of my mind right now is just thinking about Temple
Old
basketball.
Dominion. Beat Old Dominion.
Beat Old Dominion, then I'm just worried about Wisconsin and Villanova. That's all I'm worried
And
about.
I'm just excited to see the fact that I wake up morning every day and Carson Wentz is the starting quarterback of the Philadelphia Eagles.
It makes everything a little bit easier.
It honestly makes
really
every
does.
day better. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us on yet another installment of The First Line. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at TFL Sports Talk. It's been a pleasure. My name is Massimo Marciano, and here with Michael Zingroni and Taylor Snyder, we wish you guys a very wonderful, safe, and beautiful night. Thank you for joining us.
Happy Halloween.